Have you ever been stopped at an intersection close to a motorcycle and the biker is revving his engine? Today, I'll explain why. There's one reason I'm sure you already know, but there are a few that you might not. Welcome along for another Hangout, everyone. In our Hangouts, we discuss stories from the saddle, motorcycle experiences, and biker-related topics. Let's get to it. On the topic of engine revving, right up front, I want to acknowledge the
jackass
factor. People can be inconsiderate and obnoxious. The motorcycling community is not immune. On behalf of the entire community, I regret that anyone must endure any
jackass.
However, there are often good reasons for engine revving that may be misunderstood, for which there are perfectly acceptable explanations and are frequently miscategorized as buffoonery. One of the most often misunderstood examples is engine braking, especially when coupled with rev matching. People often forget, or just don't know, that motorcycles have 3 brakes: the front brake, the rear, and the engine. For those who may not be familiar, the moment you let off the throttle, the engine of a motorcycle is working to slow you down. This effect is amplified by adding downshifting. Engine compression in a lower gear will increase the engine braking effect. Dropping gears will cause the engine RPMs to increase and will sound like aimless engine revving. What is rev matching? Rev matching is a technique used while downshifting gears on a motorcycle. To explain the science in a simple way, it's the act of matching the speed with the motorcycle engine with its transmission when shifting down a gear. As I said earlier, when you downshift a motorcycle, the engine RPMs increase. If you downshift without rev matching, the engine will feel bogged down, and the motorcycle will also lurch. This can be avoided by rev matching while downshifting or engine braking. The sound of rev matching can easily be confused with pointless throttling of the engine when slowing down or coming to a stop. What about revving once the bike is stopped? Revving will keep older engines from dying. These days, modern motorcycle engines are fuel injected and are able to circulate oil and consistently provide adequate fuel supply to the engine. Some later model carbureted bikes are also designed not to need constant blipping of the throttle. In fact, modern-day electronics, which comprise a multitude of computer-controlled systems, can respond negatively to excessive stabs at the throttle. Modern motorcycle engines favor a smooth throttle hand and are perfectly happy sitting idle while waiting at a stop. For older bikes, it's actually necessary to rev a motorcycle when you first start it to get it warmed up. In fact, many motorcycles need this to stay running. There is actually a need for blipping the throttle, especially in valve trains with high-pressure valve springs. This applies mostly to carbureted motorcycles, which are the majority of motorcycles on the road. Today, some racing engines still suffer from oil starvation when idling for prolonged periods of time. Racing engines like these rely on higher RPMs to achieve optimum oil circulation. When left at idle, the lower RPM results in poor circulation, resulting in partial lubrication. Optimized lubrication, especially in something as delicate as an engine, can result in premature wear, or worse, engine failure. I can't count the number of times I've heard, "Loud pipes save lives." This statement usually comes with a story. "A cager was pushing into my lane without looking. I dropped a rev bomb and the car backed off." Is it true that the sound of pipes made the difference? Some motorcycle riders love loud pipes. They say, "It's the sound of freedom." Others find them as pleasant as hearing a two-stroke leaf blower right outside the window at 5 a.m. The defense of the loud pipers has always been that loud pipes save lives. A recent scientific study says no, loud pipes don't save lives. The study was undertaken by the Association for the Department of Motorcycling in Romania, in conjunction with the Department of Road Vehicles at the Polytechnic University of Bucharest, together with a Netherlands-based noise emission specialist, EnviroConsult. The idea was to see how much noise from motorcycle exhaust pipes actually reach the ears of car drivers. It was not possible to replicate the test while both motorcycle and car were moving, so the tests were done statically on a quiet side street lined with large apartment buildings. There does not appear to be any traffic visible to affect the sound recorded. The testers measured the sound heard inside the car with the windows rolled up, the engine running at between 2,500 and 3,000 RPM, and the radio playing at 20 decibels, or quiet enough to have a normal conversation without raising your voice. For comparison, the sound in your house right now is probably 40 decibels. A vacuum cleaner makes about 75 decibels, and a lawnmower is between 80 and 89 decibels. They used 6 different motorcycles in the test, all revving at full RPM, and parked at a distance of 50 feet behind the car, 33 feet behind the car, right next to the car, and then right in front of the car. The sound of each of the 6 motorcycles at red line registered between 80 decibels and 110 decibels. That's loud enough to cause hearing damage in as little as 15 minutes of daily exposure. At 50 feet behind the car, none of the motorcycles in the test can be heard inside the car. At 33 feet behind the car, even the noisiest motorcycles tested can hardly be heard inside the car. With the motorcycle's front wheel next to the car's rear wheel, one of the motorcycles can be heard inside the car, and 3 motorcycles can almost be heard. But, unfortunately, it's too late to be safe. With the bikes 13 feet in front of the car, the motorcycles cannot be heard. Car sound insulation in front of the car is better than sound insulation from the side. The conclusion of this study specifically says that the assumption loud pipes save lives is false. The driver of the car cannot hear a motorcycle if it is more than 33 feet behind the car. And as it gets closer than 33 feet to the car, even if the car driver hears you, it's too late to react safely. So we consider that noise is not a warning for the car driver. It can even be considered a danger because you will not have time to adapt to the new reaction of the driver. To be fair, there is a way for loud pipes to make themselves known even beyond 50 feet. But that would require a noise level above 135 decibels. That's louder than a jet plane taking off, and too loud to pass any kind of road noise regulations. If you like this sort of thing and would like to support the channel, the best way to do that right now is to click the subscribe button. Going back to the cager pushing into the lane and the use of a rev bomb to back them off, it's probably not the pipes that cause the driver to notice the bike, but rather more likely the lateral movement of shifting position in the lane. This has more to do with being seen rather than heard. If drivers can't hear pipes, why would revving annoy anyone? The reason is that not every driver has their cage sealed. Pedestrians or drivers with windows down will hear, but it's a bad idea to assume that all drivers will be alerted to a biker's presence by the rumble of pipes. The other reason that car drivers may hear a bike at a stop is because other road noises are not present, and proximity is very close. Now, for the finale. Revving is actually kind of cool. Check out this kid's reaction to revving a motorcycle. aren't we just all kids in a way? We love to experience the raw power of the motorcycle engine. The rumble of the pipes makes us feel free and alive. Thank you for hanging out with me and letting me share my story with you. I hope you learned something and you find this helpful. If you would like to stick around and hang out for a while longer, click this video. If you'd rather get out there on the road, this video is for you. If you have questions or comments, please feel free to leave them, and we'll see you next time.